skal vi snakke med regissøren av en dansk film som vi viser nå klokka 6, som heter Breeder. Så da ønsker vi velkommen til regissør Jens Dahl. Og siden vi er en danske og en trønder som skal prøve å bli forstått, så tar vi det her på engelsk. Hi Jens, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
So we have just our audience has just seen Breeder, but we are screening it again later in the festival, so we are trying to keep not to spoil too much, but we have to talk about this. This is a pretty dark film you've made, and you've made it together with Sissel Dalsgaard, who is the writer.
Yes.
Yes. How did you work on this together on this film?
Well, she presented me with the script, and I really liked it. I used to be a writer, and I directed a film before this that I wrote myself, and I really wanted to direct something that I had not written myself. And also, I think it's very important to do so. I mean, I'm interested in doing something with a female perspective. I think it's important to kind of, cross the gender barrier, if not physically, then at least in your mind. And I think that's one of the reasons why this project interested me so much. And then we worked on the script together, and she we developed it. She came in when I read it first. It was a treatment, and then it went through quite a few drafts until we landed here.
So did it change? So it changed a lot during those drafts, or is it basically the same idea? That
well, it kind of the basic idea of it, kind of the horror element of somebody getting kidnapped, and was the same through the whole through all the different versions. But the biohacking element is something that came in through our talks.
Yeah. Also, the theme of the film, you said it's with the biohacking, and I kind of think it's a bit in the film is very into our time with regards to both Me Too and consent, and the dehumanization of people.
Exactly.
Is that how was it to incorporate that in a film, and a horror film, and making it without making it kind of like how do you call it, flashy or typically gory?
I think it wasn't really a problem because it was there all along. It was there in the very first initiations of the script. That thing was very important for both of us to make a story about consent, and to make a story where it's very, very important that whatever you say yes to, it's okay, but once you don't say yes, it's not okay. And that's basically the way that's kind of the moral of the story, and what we wanted to tell with this story. It doesn't really matter what you're into, as long as you're into it.
And it's also fascinating to me the aspect of the movie with a customer who is kind of knowing that something's off, but don't want to think about it because he wants the product.
Exactly.
And that's
exactly.
Also an interesting aspect of the film, I think.
Thank you.
When we saw the film, the first thing that sprung to mind was it kind of resembled quite a few of the films from what you call like French New Extreme movies.
Yes.
Was that an inspiration for you?
Well, we saw some of those films, so yes, it was. But I mean, the actual, I think Sissel's inspiration and my inspirations were actually older films, like I Spit on Your Grave, yeah, and things like that, which are basically very feministic films set in the 70s. And they were the main inspirations. Obviously, also the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah,
was something we took inspiration from. But basically, it's the way I feel about horror films is that I think, to a large extent, horror film it draws kind of their inspiration back in history. It's like the old fairy tales, you know. And in a sense, you can say our film is like basically the story of Bluebeard, you know.
Yeah.
Put in a modern setting. So what I found very interesting here is trying to make something very old and something very modern meet each other.
Yeah. Yeah, and you see that as well as in the upper levels, in the offices, everything is very clean and new, and
Yes.
down in the basement it's all old, like how do you call it, like dungeony.
Yes.
Yeah, so very interesting. How was it to work with actors on this film? It must have been quite stressful, some of these scenes, I'm guessing.
Well, it's the way I work with actors is I prepare a lot. I like to do have a lot of readings and a lot of rehearsals before we go on set. Also because some of this material, you'll really need the actors to know why they're doing what they're doing and understanding the thing. And also because some of these scenes are quite explicit, and so you need to make sure as a director that the actors you're working with know what they're in for, and also know what they're going to do, and are okay with it.
Yeah.
So that was a big part of it. When it actually comes to shooting some of these things, it was actually a lot of fun, because you're I mean, it seems so gritty and so horrible, but in fact, you know, you're just a bunch of kids running around with a big bucket of red paint and doing. So in fact, it's not, you know, it's not, the actual shooting of it is not nearly as gruesome as what is on as what you see on the film.
No.
Also, the thing about this film is that compared to other horror films, it's not nearly as. The reason why it has an effect is that there's, I mean, the violence has a consequence.
Yeah.
You see the results of the violence just as much as you stay with the people who have been hurt after they've been hurt, and that in a sense, triggers your empathy for them to an extent that you wouldn't do in some of these films where you just chop somebody's head off and you're on to the next thing. Yeah,
and also I think you also see that you have the two characters also dehumanized. You have the dog and the swine. They don't even have proper names. They are just at the very bottom of the pecking order almost.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. This film is opening in Denmark at the end of the month.
Yes.
Yes. Have you done a lot of festivals?
Yes, it's traveling all over the world, and we've sold. It's sold to, I think last time I heard 40 countries or so.
Oh, okay.
So it's doing very well.
Yeah, that's very good.
Yes, we're actually showing in Sitges in Spain today.
It is. Yeah. And it was it opened in Cannes.
Well, it was in the market in Cannes.
Oh, okay, the market.
It's part of a Cannes development of genre films that we got into very early, which is also why so many people have seen it. It's been in so many markets, because we were able to present it there actually before it actually opened.
And are you starting to plan something new, or do you have anything new on the horizon?
Well, actually, at the moment, I'm developing a lot of television. It's because, or not television, but for streaming channels, because it seems to be, cinema is not an easy place to be right now.
No.
Financing is difficult, and you have to, So at the moment, I'm working with television mainly and developing stuff, things like that. Not that I wouldn't want to do a film, but at the moment, it seems very uphill.
Yeah, and how is it in Denmark? We haven't screened a lot of Danish horror films at our festival. How is the what's the situation with the Danish horror scene right now?
Well, I mean, it's not there hasn't been a lot of Danish horror films, and I think a lot of them have kind of has kind of sat between two chairs, sort of, wanting to be nice and wanting to be horror at the same time.
Yeah.
And I one of the things we really wanted to do with this film is like try and go all in.
Yeah.
And see if and that has kind of, resonated. I don't know how much it's going to resonate in Denmark, but it has resonated all over the world.
Yeah. Is there anything, do we have any other questions? No? From the audience? No? Do you have anything you want to add before we wrap things up?
No, not unless you have questions, which would be nice. So.
Yeah, of course. But we are nearing the end of the of our time. So let me see. I don't actually think. I think I've been through everything.
Great.
Yeah. So.
Well, then, all I can say is I'm super happy, and it comes from the whole team that you're showing the film, and I really hope you enjoy it. And
we enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thanks again for giving us the opportunity to screen your film, and hopefully we'll get to see more of your work later.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Take care.
Bye.